Hello my friends, welcome to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about what does it feel like to awaken spiritually. So before we go ahead with the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. This will allow me to grow my audience, get better collabs, better guest speakers, and provide you with more value. So go ahead, like and subscribe, and let's get going. So what does it feel like to awaken spiritually? This is not a video around a spiritual awakening, signs, symptoms of a spiritual awakening. You know, the shenanigan that's going on the planet at the moment. Many people are experiencing spiritual awakenings, spontaneous spiritual awakenings that seem to have come out of nowhere, or awakenings that have come from maybe practicing spiritual practices, etc. That's not what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about what it feels like to awaken spiritually, okay? Some of the first things we start to experience as we start to connect to a deeper sense of self, a deeper sense of the spiritual aspect of our being, if you like, of our nature. So let's get into that. And why is it so important? Because actually it's really important to recognize what it feels like to awaken spiritually, because there's also a lot of razzmatazz, fluff, misconceptions around spirituality in the spiritual community. Specifically, if you're just getting into spirituality, it can be very confusing as to where to start, what you're doing, what it's actually all about, because there's so many sort of mixed messages, if you like. I really hope this video sort of simplifies what it feels like to awaken spiritually, okay? Because it's a little bit more simple than it's often made out to be. Okay, so let's get into it. Simply, awakening spiritually tends to start by us becoming extremely aware, the word is aware, awareness, aware of our mental chit-chat, aware of the noise that is being created around us, aware of the fact that we are experiencing emotions, for example, becoming aware of our feelings, etc. So you notice I've used the word awareness, because essentially when we start to awaken spiritually, we start to come back to this sense of awareness, this presence beneath the noise, beneath the mental clutter or the mental chit-chat, if you like. So let's say before we've awakened spiritually, we can become extremely attached to the narrative of the mind. We can become extremely attached to the beliefs that we feel about ourselves, the stories we've made up about ourselves, our identity, if you like, or identities, which can change, right, depending on the false social mask we might be wearing at the time, whether it's work or a social situation or a family gathering or in business or being on the street, etc., etc. Different occasions might mean for different identities or different masks. I'm not saying these masks are wrong and we shouldn't be doing them. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when we start to awaken spiritually, we become more aware of the noise. We become more aware of these identities as being something that are separate to us. We become more aware of the mental clutter, and we can become the witness. We can become the observer of this constant information overload, constant noise, constant clutter that goes on in the matrix of the mind, right? So as we start to develop our spiritual awakening, as we start to awaken spiritually, something that starts to happen is we start to become aware that we are, ooh, I am not that thought. Ooh, I am not that emotion. Ooh, I'm not just this physical body. Oh, I'm not just this Joe Bloggs who goes to work for Simon Smith and that's my identity, right? This is my title, this is my job role. I'm not just that. That is not me. So when we start to awaken spiritually, we start to recognize, is probably the word, this awareness, this conscious awareness. And we can become aware of our thoughts a little bit more. We recognize that we're not our thoughts, that we are not our beliefs, that we are not our identity, that we are not our emotions, that we are not just this physical body, right? But instead, we are the awareness that dwells inside. And really, I've found that this is sort of the start and the peak of what feeling awakened spiritually actually is. It boils down to awareness. This is where our higher consciousness really formulates, if you like, in this space. So I want to talk about it in a way that hopefully people who are just coming into maybe spirituality or this recognition of having a spiritual aspect of oneself might be able to understand a little bit more. So the Buddhists say, empty yourself. Empty yourself of the clutter. Empty the mind of the noise. What they mean by empty yourself or empty is to come to a space that allows you to feel without the weight of the noise that is surrounding that consciousness, that is surrounding that awareness. So you might often hear the Buddhists say empty. They might call this space of conscious awareness emptiness. It's very much about decluttering, right? Coming back to that Zen master, that Zen-like space inside of us. You might hear someone like Eckhart Tolle, the spiritual teacher who wrote the famous book, The Power of Now. You might hear Eckhart Tolle speaking of this space as spaciousness, which I very much like. I'm going to get into my little sort of like ways in which to maybe make this into a tangible form, even though it's not so tangible, right? But sometimes our human cognitive brains want to understand something, so that's what I'm doing here. So you might hear Buddhists call this space emptiness. You might hear Eckhart Tolle call this space spaciousness. You might hear, maybe in the Kundalini tradition, I'm a Kundalini yoga teacher, so often I use this word neutrality, becoming neutral. And other people in different schools of thought, or as well as different spiritual practices in this day and age, you might hear the word sacred neutrality being thrown around as well. Now, it doesn't matter what you call it. And in fact, when we start to call something, again, it's starting to make that identity out of the thing. And this is very mental, right? But actually what we're talking about here, when we're talking about connecting to our spiritual awareness, how it actually feels to awaken spiritually, it's not so much a concrete thought, right? Instead, it's a space. Okay, so you've heard me just call it a space. And it's not necessarily something that we can feel or see or touch or make into a concrete analogy, if you like, an example, a narrative, because instead it's sitting beneath all of that stuff. So when we start to awaken spiritually, we recognize that we are beyond thought, that we are not our thought, we are not our body, we are not our mind, we are not our emotions. Instead, we are the dweller, the awareness, the conscious awareness inside of all of that. And what we're doing here when we start to develop this awareness, if you like. So in Kundalini Yoga, I'm speaking from my own personal practice and my own expertise. We work with certain tools, like a toolkit, if you like, that helps us raise our awareness. So when we talk about Kundalini, essentially this is another word for awareness, consciousness, if you like. So when we talk about raising our Kundalini, what we're really doing is we're talking about raising our awareness. So when we raise our awareness, we start to have the ability to be able to find space or find our emptiness, if you want to call it that sort of Buddhist analogy, or find a neutral position, if you like, away from the noise and away from the clutter of the mind of the matrix. So we found some distance to be able to watch that space with more awareness. Okay, so this is really the definitive point that you'll be able to recognize if you are starting to awaken spiritually. You are going to recognize that you are not the thoughts, which is a really nice thing to recognize, because those thoughts can be a little bit of a bully somewhat a lot of the time, right? If you've got quite a strong inner critic, of which we all do, right? Human beings have got a very, very powerful negativity bias because it's part of our safety net as a human on this planet, right? So we do have this very critical head, and that's part of the experience of being a human. We're not trying to get rid of that. But as we start to awaken spiritually, we start to become aware of and find space between our consciousness, the depth beneath the noise, the infinity beneath the finite, the wholeness, the need to seek for wholeness. Okay, so we awaken spiritually, come back to that observer's space. Okay, so when we're working with something like Kundalini yoga, for example, we work with these tools that develop awareness. We might work with moving and transforming our energy. That then helps us to balance the nervous system and the glands and the organs and the emotional body and the mind. And when we work with these tools, what we often say as Kundalini yoga teachers is come back to that neutral space. And that neutral space is a sense of coming back to a place in presence, in the present moment, if you like. It's a neutral headspace that feels like the Zen master rather than the argumentative fool that it can often become, right? So all of these practices that we're working with in the spiritual community, if you like, whether it's yoga, whether it's meditation, whether it's mindfulness, whether it's becoming aware of your breath, so breath work, whether it's, mantra practice, whether it's working with certain yogic philosophy, a yogic teaching, self-development, all these things really come under the bracket of being able to, again, connect to ourselves spiritually. So what we're doing when we're practicing yogic practices, if you like, or mindfulness or Buddhist practices, all these different spiritual teachings and tools, really what's happening is we're just drawing ourselves all the way back to one simple thing, which is our ability to find space between our awareness, our conscious awareness, and the noise. Our awareness, our conscious awareness, and past. Our awareness, our conscious awareness in the moment and the future. Yep. So we are finding the space of now so that we can become the observer, right? And it takes spaciousness, as Eckhart Tolle might say, and it takes emptying, right? As the Buddhist might say, it takes finding that neutral space inside of you that we might say in Kundalini yoga or in other forms of spiritual practices, right? Whatever that is, it's really important to start to develop that. If you are going down the spiritual road, just recognizing that space of emptiness where you've actually had the ability and the awareness to observe the thoughts and know that you're having a thought, not know from the mind, from the thought, like I'm having a thought. It's not the thought having a thought, just the recognition that who is behind that thought, and finding the space from the thought to the awareness to the presence. And it takes tools and it takes practice, right? We can't just click our fingers and instantly be in this space of neutrality, be in this space of, feeling continuously conscious and always aware of, because then we would just be enlightened and life would be very, very simple. And it doesn't work like that, right? Because all of these are lessons and teachings and practices so that we can give and teach and carry on this cycle and circle to the next generation, then the next generation, the next generation, right? They're tools to bring us back to our awareness. But that's what it feels like to awaken spiritually. We become the observer of our thoughts, and we find the ability to find space between our thoughts and the clutter of the world around us, the information of the world around us, and our conscious awareness and the presence inside of ourselves. Okay, so if we were to put it into a little sort of diagram, it would be presence inside of ourselves, awareness, consciousness, right? Spaciousness, thoughts. So what we're trying to do here is we have this presence, this consciousness. We're finding space, spaciousness, emptying ourselves, finding that neutral place within between awareness and thoughts and noise and clutter. When we do this, we are starting to awaken spiritually. And really, the more we start to practice this, the more we start to awaken spiritually. You know, there's a lot of misconceptions and myths and a lot of noise out there, even in the spiritual industry, that tries to take us out of our center, tries to take us out of this conscious awareness, right? By thinking that spirituality has to be a fashion, or there's all of these huge complex things that you have to be like, or identities that you have to portray, or things that you have to do, like things that you have to drink or you shouldn't drink, or things that you should eat or you shouldn't eat, or supplements you should take or you shouldn't take, or ways in which you should live your life or not live your life, or ceremonies that you should do or not do, or rituals that you should do or not do. This is all just glitter beneath the ladder. This is just fluff, it's noise, right? The deepest spiritual awareness that you can come to is your own awareness. Sure, it takes tools, and everybody learns in different ways. So tools that might work for me, that I absolutely love, like Kundalini yoga, might not work for you, and things that work for other people might not be for me. And these are tools and practices that you can pick and choose depending on what suits you. Okay, but essentially what they're all doing, if they are a helpful spiritual teaching or practice, they are bringing you back to your awareness. So that is how you know if you are awakening spiritually. You will be able to recognize that you are not your thoughts, you are the awareness, the consciousness behind the thoughts, and you will start to utilize practices that create space in between awareness and thoughts, so that you can become the observer. And once you've become the observer, you can become the mediator. And once you've become the mediator, you can be the chooser. If you are not aware and you haven't created space between conscious awareness and your presence and your thoughts and the patterns and the noise and the clutter, then you don't have a choice. You'll just start to continuously move through life, affected by the patterns that you've always moved through life with, the unconscious patterns that get tied into our subconscious, into our tissues, into our fascia, our chakras, our energy system, into the subconscious mind, which makes up more than 85% of the brain. When we do not come to consciousness by finding that space between clutter and consciousness, we will continuously replay the unconscious over and over and over and over and over again, right? Like a broken record. And that's what we do, that, right? It is part of our existence. Yeah, there's no shame in here. Gosh, I'm doing it very regularly, right? I've got loads of habits and loads of unconscious patterns that I personally go through life with, and we all do, yeah? But the more we can practice coming back to finding the space between thoughts and awareness and connecting back to that deeper sense of awareness and presence, the more we start to bring our energy into that space. Because where our attention goes, our energy flows. This is a law of energy work, right? So if our attention goes on bringing ourselves back to our awareness through using specific tools that work for you, then our awareness grows. If our attention is on the past and ruminating in the past, all of that old stuff from the past bubbles, all of the traumas and stuff from the past will bubble and create the main house that we live in, because where our attention goes, our energy flows. And then catch 22, where our energy flows, our attention goes. And then it becomes this vicious cycle. If we're continuously bringing our attention to the narratives of the mind, we're going to become the mind. We're going to become the thoughts. We're going to become the matrix. Okay? So there you have it. When you are awakening spiritually, you start to recognize that you are the awareness beneath the noise. And then you can start to use tools to develop that spaciousness between those two spaces. If you've got tools, use them. This is the time to use them. We are in the age of Aquarius, the information overload era. If we don't discern that information and come back to our own awareness, we're going to get lost in the clutter. I've got tools if you would like to come along and join my community. I do 2 weeks free in there, Kundalini Yoga. It is called the Yoga of Awareness because it brings us very effectively back to our own awareness. So you can grab that link in the caption of the video. If not, use your tools, folks. The time is now. Lots of love. Thank you so much for listening and see you next time. Ciao. Hi guys, thanks for watching that video with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe, it means the world to me. If you would like to watch any more videos, there's 2 here just for you.